Hey there everyone, welcome back to Game Vine, and my name is Dave, and check the door because we are welcoming all heroes. Let's do it. So today we are reviewing Heroes Welcome. Now this is a review copy from Pencil First Games as a disclaimer, but the game still has to work to get its merits. Now from first glance you would think that this is some kind of fantasy dungeon crawl kind of game or something along those lines, and you wouldn't be too far off. But at its core, this is a money economic game. So one of my favorite things when I start up a video game, Elder Scrolls or an MMO like World of Warcraft that has blacksmithing, it's the first thing that I go to master. I love mining ore, I love crafting armor and weapons and selling them on the market. So the theme is hitting with me huge right now. The one game that I'm playing right now is Moonlighter, which is essentially like this, but you are making weapons for the bad guys. So the bad guys can fight the heroes, and the heroes will beat them up and take all their loot, so you can then gather that loot from the heroes and make weapons for the bad guys again. So your goal in this game is to make that sweet, sweet moolah, master your skills, and have the most victory points at the end of the game. So let me show you this production, because it's awesome, and then let me tell you how to play this game, and then I'll give it a grade. Let's go. Alright, so this is what you get in the box of Heroes Wanted, and this is my second game that I'm reviewing from Pencils First, and as I can see, the pattern shows that the production quality of their games is high. The cardboard components are linen finished, very thick. The art is stellar. I love it. It's got this kooky kind of art. Reminds me a little bit of a Red Dragon Inn, but I'm totally digging it, though I will say some of the characters look kind of androgynous because of the eyes. It's not a bad thing, it's just something I observed. And every one of the cardboard components and the standees are all just so nicely done. And the bags here are my favorite thing. They're embroidered, they're stitched in, it feels so nice, really good quality. You'll be using those over time, so it's nice to have something that's really nice. The only gripe I do have is they don't put linen finish on their cards. I don't know why. Very good that they do rounded edges because, I mean, cards are going to be used. And like I said, the art on these cards is really nice, very unique, and it does kind of explain everything that you need to do. These are the monsters that you're going to be selling to. Some of the scheme cards here. Scheme cards here have a lot of different kind of text on them and different powers and art as well. Some of the text does get a bit small, but that's not anything too bad. And then you had the oversized cards. The boards are really nicely done. You got this one right here. You got this big board here. You got some clips, which are probably the lowest quality bits in the whole game, but they're still nice. And these right here are kind of wavy. They could have just made these squares, but I like the way they feel. And again, like I said, they're linen finish. All right, so that's what you get in the box. Now let me show you. All right, so this is the game setup. Now what you're trying to do is make weapons for these evil guys that are going to be going in the dungeon, and then the heroes are going to go defeat those enemies, gather loot, and that loot is what you're going to be making the weapons for the bad guys for. Is what you're going to be using for those weapons in order to get the weapons to the bad guys, and it's this vicious circle. So basically you're playing both sides. And there's a reference card, breaks it all down. You can do one of a couple of things on your turn, and once you do one thing, it's the next person's turn, and then you continue to do it round by round until somebody calls for the round to be over. Your turn, you can either run a shop, move a hero to a nearby shop, use the shop ability, place a close sign when done. Whenever you go to a spot, you always going to place a close sign. So there are guilds. There are things that you can't see down here, but basically they're just cards that we'll go over later. But you can go down to these guilds, but once you go to a guild, or if you go to the bank, or if you move a hero, the heroes more to a shop and use it, that place is going to get a close sign and nobody else can use that spot. Or you can craft for a customer. Now see, the heroes come to town, but customers on the left side here come to get weapons to defeat those heroes, but it's not going to go so well for them. And you can use the loot that the heroes have to craft these weapons, because the loot are in these bags here, and the cool thing about this is when you discard the loot, you put them in this bag, and basically you can just swap these out. That's a little attention to detail that I like. But the loot to you are just materials. See, this right here, they all have interesting name, crystallized booger, troll boogers. And basically, you're just using it for the raw materials. There are gems. I can't believe I just drew all gems right there. And there are metals. And there are different kinds like mithril, orc steel, and all that kind of stuff. And these guys want certain kind of weapons. Now, he needs one type of gem and any kind of metals. Now, you will get the victory points, which are going to be important at the very end of the game, because whoever has the most victory points at the very end wins. The game ends when the boss comes out and you defeat him, and basically every time you sell a weapon to a bad guy, they go in this dungeon and then basically get defeated, and they level up the heroes. And once the heroes level up, they can basically hold more loot. And you also get cash, of course, for selling those weapons. And then the card will go away and, like I said, go into the dungeon. Now, if you don't make anything for a creature at the very end of the round, well, then the lowest creature will go into the dungeon unarmed, and then you'll just basically replenish it at the very end. Or you can visit a guild, like I said. There are different things down here. So this one here, the Minstrel Guild, move a hero to any shop immediately. So these are the paths that you have to follow. You can't just go like this. You have to follow the path, but if you go to the Minstrel Guild, well, you can overwrite that. And you can get scheme cards. Scheme cards, everybody starts with some, and they alter the game. So they're really good. This turn, you may ignore close signs when you take a visit a guild action. So not everything is closed. It's basically a lantern. The late shift does a similar thing. Real mean, and place a close sign on a store that you know you're not going to go to, but your opponent wants to go to. So stuff like that. Or you can go to the Artisan's Guild. Everyone starts with a craft versatility skill. I have Bogby Bubble Guts, and he starts with Orc Steel Mastery. So you have these little clips, and you can start leveling these up. So when you go to the Artisan Guild, you can either level up, or you can take another mastery. Now, when you complete weapons that have all the things on here, so if you use Orc Steel, you get an extra 2 victory points if you are on rank 1, and at rank 2 it goes so forth and so on. You just basically have to follow what it says. Not only does Bubblegut get extra victory points if he does his mastery, if he doesn't use any mithril, then he'll get an extra point because he doesn't like to use that kind of ore. So there's different ore. You need to pay attention to that because you can get extra victory points. Or you can go down to the Thieves Guild. See these materials right here? Well, not only can you get materials from the heroes, you can get them from the black market, and you can place a close sign right here and buy one material for 2 gold or 2 materials for 6 gold. And gold is kind of hard to get. And then turn those bad boys into Ethereum. And the other guild that you have is the Builders Guild. So if you go here, you can build one of these things here. Now, each one of these spots has a different way that you're going to be gathering materials from the heroes. So this space right here is you can buy multiple metal material from one of the heroes for 1 gold a piece. And other places right here, like you can sell stuff. So once somebody buys some materials from a person and they give them cash, you can sell potions at this spot down here if you close it up to get that money for yourself. Potions give a temporary bonus to the heroes. It gives them a extra level so they can hold more loot for a round. But when you go to the Builders Guild, you can get even stronger stuff. So this bazaar is basically you get to buy 1 material for 1 gold from any of the heroes. Really strong. So when you go down here, you can build it like right here if you want. You can move to it. Because when you go to the Builders Guild, you get to build and then take another turn. So basically you'd go to the spot that you just built and then close it up. And the last thing here is the goldsmith. If you run out of gold, you can get 2 for just going there, or give up a victory point to get 5 gold. And the last thing you can do is call for the round to end. So if you want the round to end because everything's pretty much done, you got no gold and no loot to basically break down to make weapons, then you call for the end of the round. And if that is successful, you get 2 scam cards. That's where you can get more scam cards. And then you move the heroes to the dungeon and they will be battling any of the monsters that you supplied with weapons, and then basically leveling those heroes up. Now let's say somebody doesn't want you to end the round. Well, they can give you a loot, and that person who gave you loot, it becomes their turn, and basically everybody plays out their turn one more time. But it comes back around to you when you call for a end of the round. Well, they cannot veto that second time. Now the end of the round basically tells you right here, kill, level up, collect 1 loot per level for each person, and then take all the close signs out, replenish the black market, and so forth and so on. And like I said, you will do that until all the monsters are defeated and you come up to the boss, which is at the very bottom of the deck. And once that's done, whoever has the most victory points, gold does count for some victory points, is the winner. And that is essentially it. Now let's tell you what I think about this game and give it a grade. All right, so that's how you play Heroes Welcome. Let's give this game a grade. I had to sit down and think really hard. It was standing at an 89 for me because there was a few things like the finickiness of the game that I didn't know if I wanted to give it 1 more point, and you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm going to give this a 90 and give it the must-play game vinyl. This is the second one that Pencil first got. It got it for the Skulk, and now it's getting it for the Heroes Welcome. The theme is heavy and it hits perfectly. So yes, maybe I'm a little biased because I love this theme. So it might be getting extra points for it there. But the fact that at first glance it looks like a dungeon crawl might bring people in, but don't be fooled. The game mechanism is an economic game, but it has a veil of this fantasy realm, which is great. I love the art, I love the production, I really like the gameplay. There are a few things that I'm not a huge fan of, like there are a lot of moving pieces that you have to keep track of, so sometimes it felt a little fiddly. Again, this is a minor gripe. And the fact that the replayability when it comes to the patrons coming in at the same pace, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And that would be my major complaint, but that could be easily fixed with maybe a small expansion, because I would love to see more of this game. The humor is hilarious. It doesn't seem forced. It's taken from all these little fantasy ideas and thrown them in, like the troll boogers. I mean, it's just silly. And the fact that it plays 2 players, well, is good. I played it all the way up to 3 players, so it scales well. The time that says 90 minutes, I would actually say it's about maybe an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. Once you get the hang of things, you can bust that out in that amount of time. And the age, 14, I think a teenager and up, because of the economy that's going on and how it shifts and what you have to do. It's so fascinating because it's one of those kind of worker placements in the middle there. You want to make sure that you go to this store, but if somebody else gets it, you're going to have to strategize elsewhere. Ours on some of the characters are better than others, but not so overpowered that it breaks the game. Overall, I think this is a great medium weight game. This is just a bit above casual play, but just under that heavy type game. So I'm recommending this game. Absolutely, it's a must play from me. And thank you so much, Pencil First, for providing us with another great game. Thank you, My Nation, for stopping on by for another review. If you haven't already, click like and subscribe. My name is Dave. Until next time that I see you, have a great rest of your day and a great time with all your play. I'm out. Bye. Vine Nation, we love making content here for you on the channel, and we're almost at 10,000 subscribers, so subscribe now and help us out. This video right here, I think you'll like. This video right here, YouTube thinks you'll like. Or you can just sit here and watch me dance the dinosaur for a little bit longer. You can visit us at our social media outlets, and we're going to be improving our Patreon here soon. That's all for today. Miko, it's time to go. Good girl, Miko.